Good morning, everybody, from far and wide on Facebook Live and our crowd of people here. It's so nice to see so many wonderful, happy, loving, beautiful faces on this rainy Sunday, which is so needed and necessary for California right now. Thank you for praying for rain for California because it works. So now we just have to pray for not too much rain. We don't want too much rain. We don't want mudslides. We're just the right amount. Okay. So here we are, and we are going to read our vision. Our vision is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And how we do this is by being soulful, being compassionate, being love, being agents of change. And so now I'm going to do a brief opening treatment, of opening prayer. So if y'all want to just get comfortable, close your eyes, keep those feet on the floor to stay grounded. I know in this very moment that everything is exactly as it should be. I know in this very moment and time, in situation, that God is at work behind the scenes and front and center and within us and outside of us with a divine plan for us all. I know right here and now that I am grateful for the rain. I'm grateful for the support and love that our city and surrounding areas has received. I am grateful for the renewed energy of these agents of change. And with gratitude and love, I put the same good energy back into the world, knowing it recycles again and again and again and again. And so it is. Hey, more people coming. Wow, I love this. We got a full house today. I love it. Okay, awesome. So what do we have up next? Pamela Bailey is going to come up and read for our Candles of Faith. Come on up, Pamela. So nice to see you. Here's a microphone for you.
Yes, thank you. Well, I see, excuse me, I see the Hardy are out this morning.
Yes.
I have quite a drive to get here, and I have to say there were moments when I'm thinking, why am I doing this? It was, that rain that's coming down so hard you can barely see. That was what was happening. If everyone were here, I would be introducing the other practitioners. However, the only other practitioner is our one and only Marcia Beebe back there at the panel. Thank you, Marcia. And thank you, Lissa, for stepping in. Today, Myrna was going to be here to be doing some of the practitioner things, and she's ill, and she got it from her husband, who got it from someone at work, and these things happen. So just knowing that they are regaining and recreating their health and vitality, and we will see them next week. So today I am reading the Candles of Faith right now, and we perform this ceremony every week to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from that one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And we light the candle for all those who are, as yet, unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them at this center, and for all religions unnamed in this ceremony. And as we light that healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. And I normally would be introducing Bill Rotella, who was scheduled to be our musician today, and he's ill. So I believe we will have a YouTube video. Thank you.
This is my song.
This is Lissa's song. All I
All
have.
I thought was mine.
Oh.
All
Oh.
I thought was mine.
Okay. Take it away, YouTube.
Some nights I stay up till dawn, as the moon will do for the sun, and the night contains the day. Light shows me the way when sunlight's streaming through. It reflects all around the room. You're in every image, and yet I'm so homesick for you. Day and night I've held this pearl of my soul. To God it was my foremost goal. And now I see I'm in this ocean you designed, and I lost track of all the thoughts of mine. All the thoughts of mine. Beneath hurt and grief is love. To find is what we're dreaming of. And when we see it around, we can't help but be in it. The seeds that we planted grow blooms that we are granted. You're in all the buds and branches, and I take in your perfume. Day and night I've held this pearl in my soul. To God it was my foremost goal. And now I see I'm in this ocean you designed, and I lost track of all about this. Now you see what love can make her do. Just look at the colors of the world. If you wanna see what love can make her do, just look at the colors of the world. Surrounded by marvelous sights, but I only see your pure light. I know that it's my truth. Taking your beauty, you're in all that I do. I'm always at one with you. You're in every creature, and yet I'm so homesick for you.
is this, no. Yes, this is the hot mic. All right, so yes, as you know already, I'm Pamela Bailey. I'm a practitioner here, and so it is my privilege and honor today to be the practitioner who gives a little message and who makes herself available after service for anyone who desires to have a treatment. So the theme this year for Centers for Spiritual Living is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. And this month, January, the theme is Choosing Possibility. Well, today, in all of this wonderfulness, the theme is Stretching into Possibility. Now, I don't know what Lisa's going to say. It's going to be wonderful. I know that. And the title of her talk is Certainly Certainty. So we're going to find out about certainty today. I like that. So again, stretching into possibility. And today is, again, rising higher, going deeper. And as I was thinking about this whole thing about possibility, it's always present. And we forget. We're very focused right in front of us, and we have this whole lifetime behind us of all the things the way they've always been. That's how we live as humans. However, something is always present, and that's a possibility of something greater, something deeper, more loving, more powerful, whatever all those qualities are that we want to have in life. We want to have that vitality. We want to have that joy. We want to have wonderful partnerships and friendships, and we want to have great finances and to be living a calling, to feel like what I'm doing is purposeful and it's satisfying on that level as well as other levels. So again, in any moment, it's there. We just have to stop, pay attention, and have an intention to discover or create that possibility. Again, I don't know about you, perhaps you're far more spiritual than I, but I operate on autopilot a lot. And I think that's our human condition. And habits serve us. They really do. So, okay, I wrote something here and I can't read it, sorry. And my reading glasses are not up here with me. So oh, thank you. Lisa's loaning me some.
They're yours.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, they are. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, man. Did I wake up today? Not so sure. So, again, we tend to operate on autopilot. And instead of making this serious and, oh, I'm wrong not to see that there's possibility, play with it and stretch into that play and have it just be give and take and ease rather than, oh, I have to. And we can be radically open to those limitless possibilities. And again, it takes something. It doesn't just magically happen. One of the things that in my wanderings the last couple of weeks, I was reading this thing about affirmations. Now, all of us here know about affirmations. The thing is that they go deep when we keep saying them. And the whole point of them is to keep affirming, because there's a probability that when I say, I am strong and healthy, I'll think about something that's other than that. You know, the yeah, but. And actually, in some Louise Hay workshop, there is a practice where you look at the affirmation and then you write down, well, what's the yeah, but? And you keep doing the affirmation until there's no more yeah, buts left. And that's a really good thing. But to wake up in the morning, to start off your day with something like, oh, it's a beautiful day. Today, it was a beautiful day. It was raining. I got out of bed by myself. That's a pretty good thing. So that's, great things to start the day. And so I have a couple of things that I want to share. And that stretching, like looking beyond the usual, that's what's really important. And again, make it a habit. And back to the thing about starting new habits is not easy. It doesn't matter what's available from the habit. We still, our stuck in our patterns. And that doesn't make us bad, but it takes intention and attention. And it takes 3 days to actually even get a tiny grip on a habit. And then they say that in 21 days, it starts to be established. In 3 months, it can be well established. However, that doesn't mean that you're not going to forget. And if you forget enough, that becomes the habit. So there you go. And I have an example from my own life. And many years ago, there was this thing about no complaining. And there was this notion that if you went for 30 days without complaining, you would have left behind that habit of complaining. So the idea was you had to go 30 days in a row without complaining. I don't want to tell you how many times I had to restart. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, that person in front of me is driving too slowly. Yada, 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 whatever it was. So what it caused me to do, because darn it, I was going to do that. I was going to get to those 30 days. I got to day 17, and it's like, well, I said a lot less. and I got to those 30 days. And the great news was that having practiced that gave me that, inner muscle not to focus on what I don't want, which is what complaining is, because what you focus on, you get more of. So I have a couple of quotes from outstanding folk that I want to share with you. The first is from Yogananda, and this is an excerpt from a very long quote, and he says, "Take care in what you say." Great advice. And from The Power of Decision, Raymond Charles Barker, who wrote this book that I'm going to be teaching a class on, he says, "The clarity of the infinite mind is the clarity of my mind. Therefore, I think with ease of my accomplishments and goals. It is being created in my mind right now." And yes, we have that power. And that's not to stretch out, but to stretch in and to transform our minds. So on that note, I am going to reintroduce the wonderful Lissa Coffey, who's going to talk us about certainty.
Thank you. Yes, Pamela is a wonderful opening act. Thank you, Pamela. Give it up for Pamela Bailey. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh my gosh, what a day this is. So you'll notice I'm wearing my Australia shirt because today, January 26th, is Australia Day. Go Aussies! As you all know, I'm married to an Aussie man. And I said, I need a story to open up the church service with. Can you find me one? And of course he did, because he's so wonderful. So here we go. So Aussie taxi driver picks up a guy at the airport. He's going to tour him around Sydney. Guy turns out to be Texan. He's sitting in the back seat of the car, and he's marveling at all the many sites in Sydney, and he's kind of bragging, "Oh yeah, we always do things better in Texas, and we do things bigger and better. It's Texas." So he points to the Sydney Tower and he says, "Oh, that's a nice building. How long do you think it took them to build that building?" He goes, "I don't know, mate. I don't know if I can do an Aussie accent, so just bear with me." "Oh, I don't know, mate. Maybe a year? And the Texan said, "Oh, brother, a year? Gosh, in Texas, we could have built that in 6 months." So then he's driving along, and they're going over the bridge, that famous Sydney bridge that's so beautiful. And the Texan says, "Hey, how long do you think it took him to build this bridge?" He says, "Well, I don't know, but I think it took him about 2 years to build this bridge." And the Texan just laughs. He goes, "Oh, come on. In Texas, we could have built this bridge in 1 year, maximum. Taxi driver's just rolling his eyes. And finally, they go by the Sydney Opera House. Have you seen the Sydney Opera House? It's amazing. It looks like a lotus flower. It's gorgeous. And the guy's like, "Wow, look at that building over there. How long did it take him to build that building?" And the taxi driver looks at it and he goes, I don't know, mate. It sure wasn't here yesterday. Those are the Aussies for you, right? That's the Aussies for you. They're so awesome. Yeah, there you go. So, and now, also, coming up, we have Kumbh Mela going on in India right now, which is every 12 years they have this gathering in India, in Kailash, where the three rivers meet, the Saraswati, the Yamuna, and the Ganges. It's a very sacred space. And millions of people go. I mean, like, so many people go. So that's going on right now. So we can tap into that energy of all the people there in our meditations and stuff and kind of ride that wave. Starting January 29th, it's the Chinese New Year. We've got the Year of the Snake coming up. What do you think that means for the Year of the Snake? You know how on medical doctors they've got that sword or whatever and there's a snake wrapped around it? The snake signifies healing and transformation. So this should be a very important year for us of healing and transformation. And also in numerological terms, 2025 is a 9-year, which means ending, finishing the old, and bringing in the new. New beginnings for all of us. So this should be a really powerful year. It's a really powerful time for all of us. And also, starting yesterday, it was when all the all the planets were aligned. Did you hear about this? This is a very rare occurrence. So there's a lot of good energy going on in this time and space where we are right now. And I want us to really appreciate that and to kind of dive deep into that, feel it, and let it transform ourselves as well. There's a lot of ways that we can think about energy, God, the universe, a lot of analogies. And how did this come about? Well, in India and in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you are not this body, you are not this mind. And one time when a guru was teaching this to his class, one of the students says, well, wait, well, then what am I? And he said, well, you can't really point to anything that you are because you're not even human. And he says, wait, I'm not human? And there's this principle in Vedanta, neti neti, not this, not this. And he's like, this is what you are not. And he says, well, am I a stone? No. Am I a plant? No. Am I an animal? No. You are more than this. But there's nothing that he could point to say you are that, because you are all that and so much more. How do you describe Brahman? How do you describe God? Well, in the Bible, there's a few different ways that I thought we could look at. And one of them I thought was very interesting, given all the fires we've been through in Southern California. But God is sometimes described as fire, all-consuming. And the way you can think about this is that whatever you put into fire becomes fire. For example, let's say you put some wood. Wood is heavy and sturdy and hard, right? But say you put some wood into fire. Does fire become wood? Does the wood put out the fire? No. The fire consumes the wood. The wood becomes fire. And that's how God is within us. We are that. And when we can tap into that energy, We can feel it. We can use it. We have the strength. We have the wisdom. We have the power, our God-given power, because it is God in us. It is us in God. We are working in that space. So we need to surrender to it. Just as the wood, when it goes into the fire and becomes fire, that wood becomes free. It's no longer heavy and a burden and hard, right? It's light and airy and free. And we can transform ourselves into being light and free as well, into letting that light take us over. We can let it transform us because we are that. So another analogy in the Bible is that they say God is like shade. And this is kind of a comforting analogy, right? Under the shade of the tree, we're protected from wind, we're protected from the sun, we can take shelter, we can find peace. It's comfortable there, right? We're protected from the harshness of life. We're in the shade. But there's a deeper meaning in the same passage that's sometimes translated into, instead of God is like shade, God is like shadow. God is like our shadow. And what they mean by that is that when we're out in the sun, we're connected to our shadow. We can't separate from it. There's nothing we can do. We can dance around all crazy. The shadow does exactly what we do. Who's in control of the shadow? Is the shadow telling us what to do? No. We are moving freely. We are the ones who are making that shadow move. This is kind of like our life, although sometimes we don't know it. Is God telling us what to do? No, God may make some suggestions. God may give us some hints or whatever, but it's all up to us. We're making the decisions. That's just the way it goes. But whatever we put out, just like us with our shadow, whatever moves we put out are reciprocated. They come back to us. So we need to focus on positively initiating the actions that we take so that what good and positive comes back to us, what good and positive goes out into the world, because we're in control in that way. So I think that's a beautiful analogy, that God is like our shadow. And then a lot of people say God is love, or God is like love. And I think we can all resonate with that. You know, we, as little children, we had love for our parents. Growing up, I don't know. That's it. Oh my gosh, you know, they say the one sure thing about having kids is that your kids are going to end up in therapy complaining about you. And I think that's true. But that's our first relationship in life. I mean, our first relationship is God, yes. But we experience God through our mother's eyes, through our mother's care, through, you know, our Father's guidance. Whatever it is in those relationships to us, we are innocent and vulnerable, and we're reliant on them. So that's how we first experience God, with that love. And as a parent, you have this little innocent baby, and even if you're not a parent to a human child, you may have a fur child, a pet. Like I know my cat, I love her unconditionally. Unconditionally. I look in her eyes and I see God. this morning, she usually sleeps by my head, which is an interesting place for a cat to sleep. But as I understand from the philosophy on Instagram, when a cat sleeps by your head, that means that the cat thinks that you're her mother, which I think is very sweet. So this morning she's sleeping by my head, and I hear these little, like she's snoring. And I thought it was like the cutest thing. And I just smiled with love in my heart. And I thought, now this is a meditation. This is a meditation. I didn't go like, Claire, wake up. You're keeping me awake or anything. No, I'm like, I'm just going to listen to it and appreciate it and love it. And it just made me feel so good inside that I have this little companion that just is pure love. Pure love. And I think we've all had the experience also of falling in love. When you have someone who just takes your breath away, someone who sweeps you off your feet. That falling in love feeling. But the truth is, when we're falling in love, that feeling of being in love, we're not getting that from the other person. That comes from within us. What we're feeling is our connection to God. We're seeing God within that person. We're having that experience of vulnerability, of that rare feeling of closeness. Like, we're so close to God that we can't really see God. But when we look in the mirror, we can kind of see God in our own eyes. When we look at a person that we love so dearly, that gives us that feeling of, I am loved. Who loves us? God loves us. But that's the thing is, sometimes it takes these analogies and these personifications, because God is formless. God, Brahman, is formless. But sometimes it takes a form, like a baby or a pet or a child or a beloved, to help us connect with God, to help us connect with the God within us. And I think that's what we do also with Jesus Christ in the Bible. We, Christians, I love Jesus. I'm not even a Christian. I love Jesus. I love Buddha. I love Krishna. And when we celebrate those avatars who have been here on earth, demonstrating to us what it's like to be so near God, what it's like to express God, what it is possible for us to be and do and experience in this life, how can you not love that? It's all about love. So falling in love, being in love, loving someone is our opportunity to expand our capacity to feel and to feel our connection with the divine. Yeah. God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes we don't understand. I heard this little, I guess you could call it trivia, but it's nature. And God is nature. That's another thing God is, right? This divine plan that works. Who could ever design the seasons? Who could ever design the sunrise and sunset and all that? It's only God, right? Okay, so squirrels. Let's talk about squirrels for a minute, okay? Squirrels, we've all seen them bury their nuts. And we know that what they're doing is they're saving it for winter when there's not so many nuts available. They're just squirreling them away for another time. We've got so many squirrels in our backyard. Oh my gosh, tons of squirrels. And they're always digging their nuts, burying their nuts, and a lot of times they bury them in my potted plants on the patio. And they leave their mess and everything, but I'm like, okay, fine, squirrel, do you, I'm not going to bother you. But did you know, this is the interesting part, 80% of the nuts that the squirrels bury, they forget where they are. They can't find them. They forget where they are. They lose them. 80%. But guess what happens? Trees grow. Maybe this is part of God's divine plan. These little squirrels are like little Johnny Appleseeds, right? They're planting trees, burying them in the ground. Maybe, if the acorn just fell on top of the ground, there's a chance it might grow into a tree. But hey, if a squirrel buries it in there, there's a much better chance it's going to grow into be a tree, right? So, those little squirrels are divine creatures. Everything in this world is such a divine experience. And everything is God speaking to us in some way. Everything we see, everything we experience. But too often, we're on our phone, or we're spacing out, or we're watching TV, or we're listening to the radio, and we miss it. So we really need to pay attention. It's like we all want happiness. But did you know the word happiness comes from the root word happen or happenstance? And it's a very passive thing. Happiness comes, happiness goes. Happiness happens, and then it doesn't happen. It's like that, So why are we chasing happiness? What we need to do instead is to cultivate joy, because joy comes from within us. Joy is something we can experience like love. Joy bubbles up from within us. Joy is a decision. And we can make a decision to be a giver. The messages that God sends us are all like signposts showing us how we can experience joy, how we can be a giver. Because by being a giver, we experience joy. And I think we've all had that experience, Sometimes it's just so much more fun to give a present to someone and see the happiness on their face than it is to receive a present. I know for me, it's really awkward. I feel like, I don't deserve it, or you went to so much trouble and you didn't have to do that, But I don't do that anymore, because I realize if I say, no, you shouldn't have, or whatever, I'm taking away the feeling from the giver of the joy of seeing me just delighting in it. So now I'm much more aware of that kind of thing, and we need to really anticipate that. And sometimes it's just giving advice. Sometimes it's just giving an ear to listen. Sometimes it's just giving a shoulder to cry on. There's this really cute story that I heard this rabbi say on Instagram. He said these two little kids were playing rabbi and follower, like rabbi and congregant. Like, you go to the temple and you're the congregant. So they took turns. So the big brother says, okay, I'll be the rabbi first. You be the congregant, and you come in and ask for advice, and then I'll give you advice. Okay. So the older brother says, okay, I'm the rabbi. Ask me for advice. So the little brother says, okay, I need some advice. I need to know what to do about, my teacher, this, that, and the other thing. And the older kid says, well, my child, you should do this, that, and the other thing. And the kid says, okay. And then the big brother says, wait, aren't I a good rabbi? Didn't I give you a good advice? Aren't you supposed to say thank you and everything? He said, no. You didn't give me good advice. He said, what did I do wrong? And the kid said, you forgot to sigh. And he said, what do you mean I forgot to sigh? He goes, when you go to the rabbi and he goes to give you advice, you ask your question, and then he goes, oh. And then he gives you the advice. And what are we to learn from this? In that sigh, that's the empathy. That's the compassion. That's the heart-to-heart communication that goes on, so that the person is now open to receiving the advice because he knows it's coming from a good place. Isn't that interesting? And so wise. And actually, this rabbi said that the younger brother who said that, you forgot to sigh, he grew up to be a rabbi. Isn't that good? He was an old soul. Anyhow, my time's up, but I could go on forever. So actually, I forgot the main thing. This is called certainty. What is certainty? Certainty is knowing that everything that happens at any time, no matter how we judge it, good, bad, indifferent, everything that happens to us at any time, yesterday, tomorrow, today, is for our spiritual growth. That's what certainty is. Certainty is knowing that God is behind all actions, all activities, all words, everything. So even, as we've all experienced, when someone harms you, we can pray, let this transform me. Let me find out the deeper meaning behind this. I'm okay because I know that this is for my higher spiritual growth, and I am okay. So there's this little prayer. This is all Kabbalah stuff, which I think is like so cool. I thought we'd just end this with a prayer. So everybody just close your eyes, get comfortable if you like. I pray for and I pray with the certainty, the clarity, the wisdom, and the strength to overcome any challenges that come my way. I see obstacles as opportunities. I recognize the light in the dark. I continue to expand my capacity to receive and accept divine light and love. And so it is. Om Tat Sat. Amen. Ta-da. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what are we doing next, Pamela? We have a song. We have another song, music video. We Share the Moon. I wrote this song. I wrote the song with Vito, who's going to be here next week.
Feel the chill, and the Ganges water stands oh so still. I can see the moon reflected so bright. I can see the moon dancing in the night, and I bow to pray with tears in my eyes for devotion strong that can make me wise. Though the moon is stained, my gentle heart is sure. Though the moon is stained, please let my mind be pure. Share the moon and the sky. blame on another. Seek to instead find peace of mind. We share the happiness comes, yet it's transitory. We each have a time to tell our story. When the moonlight hides, remind me that she's there. When the moonlight hides, let love shine everywhere. No one in this world is a stranger. We share the moon and the sky. Don't place blame on another. Seek to instead find peace of mind. It is the nature of the water to flow downwards with the sun rays lifted toward the sky. The nature of the mind to go to lower things, but through grace the mind can go high. No one in this world is a stranger. We share the moon and the sky. Don't place blame on another. Seek to instead find peace of mind. We share the moon.
Our songwriter Lissa and her collaborator Vito. So thank you. And again, it's wonderful to see everyone who's here. And I'm doing announcements today. Buzz, who was our king of announcements for many years, he and Lynn are moving up north. So we won't have our Santa and our poet here doing announcements. But I'm getting to do them. So today is January 26th. We have announcements. And Marcia, if you would put the next slide up. All right. So our first slide, again, we've had these horrendous fires. Fortunately, no one here in this room has been affected. But all over the Los Angeles area, it's been tragic. And people have lost their homes and some people have died. And of course, the firefighters have been giving their best for a very long time. So this is to support both firefighters and those who've been affected. There are two centers who are doing things for the Pasadena and North Valley area, the North Hollywood Center for Spiritual Living and the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living. And of course, you can find those, in the phone, on Yellow Pages. You can find them on the internet. You can call them. You can look at their websites. There's information there. And also, as always, these agencies that bless us during rough times, the Red Cross, the United Way, there's an Emergency Network LA, the California Community Foundation, Wildfire, Los Angeles Fire Department Fund, and CORE, Community Outreach Relief what is the E? Sorry. Efforts. Okay. And again, show up and do what you can. Keep praying, knowing that all of this is unfolding. And Lissa said, of course, that it's all always for our highest good. And sometimes when we're in the midst of it, we don't see that. And these people, you know, our opportunity here is to share of the love and the good that we have. And I actually was on a Zoom call, and there were these two women who were staying in a hotel because both of them had lost not only their homes, but their cars. They just burned up. And these women were so peaceful, and they were saying, yes, I lost my home and I lost all the stuff. I'm still here. My family's still here. And they were just amazing. So, again, show up, help where you can, how you can, as much as you can. And next slide, Marcia. All right. So today we have at 5 o'clock today, we have Swami Sarvadevananda here, and of course our Lissa facilitates these meetings, and he's going to share some stories and wisdom, and we get to have questions and answers, and then have a social time with all the wonderful people and food. Lissa always brings samosas. Are you bringing those? Yes, she's bringing them today. So again, no need to RSVP. Come at 5 o'clock. Love donations are accepted. We appreciate that. And it is a wonderful opportunity to be with a beautiful community and find something out about Vedanta. So next. And next week, assuming that she's well, which of course she will be, Myrna Morales. For some reason, I want to say Gonzalez, and I have no idea why. Okay, so next Sunday, she is speaking, and these people, she and her husband, are new to our community. I can't wait to see what it is she's going to be talking about. So come and support her online. Continuing. And I think this is incorrect.
No, this is right.
Oh, next. Okay. I thought you said Vito was coming next week.
No, he's coming
Oh.
end of February.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I was confused. Yes, next week is our wonderful Bill Rotella, who was scheduled to be here today and is under the weather. It's always fun when Bill's here, so come listen to him. And next, we have our once a month, our wonderful Kathy Sachs, who's not here with us today. She was a hospice nurse for 17 years, and she facilitates these discussions on whatever the issues are having to do with the end of life. It has been really wonderful. It's a place to just come, be in the conversation, and share. And it's a way to motivate yourself to take care of the things you need to take care of. You know, have your person who's going to make your decisions if you're not able, and have your finances handled. All those things. So come, and again, there's no charge. Love donations accepted. All right, Ralph, do you have something to share with us? Okay, so our wonderful Ralph, okay, yes, our wonderful Ralph, who runs our Treasures bookstore, he's in the back there. It's open today after service, and there are wonderful things just awaiting you. So pick up a treasure and go see Ralph. Wonderful Ralph has been there steadfastly. Oh, I thought I saw him pointing to something. It's a water bottle. So next, okay. One more thing, I didn't see this on the announcements, but in February, I'm going to be starting a class on Thursday mornings when we had the emotional detox class, and it's on the power of decision. And there is a new workbook for that classic book by Raymond Charles Barker. And so we will have sign-up sheets coming up. And all right, we are here, the few, the mighty. And we want to stay here. So we're going to be having our offering, our opportunity to give here in the center. And of course, you can give online on the website through Zelle or your credit card or whatever. Send a check, send cash. But we do appreciate, and we know that when we give, that is generating that law of circulation, which allows us to be blessed in return. So that is enough on that. Again, we have our website where you can find out what's happening here. That's csl-pleasantvalley.org. However, if you just put in CSL Pleasant Valley, it will give it to you. So take a look. And we are also on Instagram, Lisa's favorite. All right. And that's it. So I'm going to do a brief prayer. I believe, have our ushers already received the offerings? Okay. All right. Thank you. So Sandy and Tom, our faithful ushers, are here. And so as we are closing up this service, in the face of all of it, God is right here, right now, fully present. And again, there are abundant blessings. Each and every person here has a life full of light and blessing. And every experience, it is all good, it is all God. And each of those experiences can appear negative. And yet, if it's all for my highest good, it's either a gift, which I recognize, or a lesson, which is an opportunity to learn and grow, and to accept what is so, and to look within for that possibility of what could be possible here. And so as I am here on this rainy day, which is such a blessing here in Southern California, so grateful for that. So grateful also that it's not a deluge, and so hopefully the ground will absorb it. And also just knowing that each and every person involved with this center is having a wonderful, full life, full with health, with love, with joy, with all of those expressions of life itself unfolding at its highest and best. And knowing that if it's not looking like that, look within, look for the joy, and allow it out, and make a contribution to another. That is the best way to experience that joy of seeing somebody else smile, seeing somebody else perhaps even crying out of deep appreciation or understanding, and knowing that each of us is full and able to give these gifts, and also to allow the healing presence of Spirit as we go forward and as we go through life. For all of this and for each and every person here, I am so very grateful, and I release this treatment knowing it is already done. Thank you. And so it is. Okay. And wait, there was one. Oh, I will be available right after the service to do treatment with you if there's anything in your life that you want to really get to the essence of knowing that power of God is present right here, right now. And we have our peace song. And Lisa, can you come up? It was the Lissa and Pamela show today. So
We'll both sing.
I don't think so. Carrying a tune is not my forte. All right. Take it away, maestro.
We need music, though.
No, that would be Sam. Steve, stand up. And yes, it begins with me. Yes, there's a peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With love and sweet family. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yay, and here's our affirmation to take with us as we go out. Today is a great day. I see it in my mind. I feel it in my body. I see it in my life, and so it is. Woo! Yay! All right. Thank you, everyone, especially Marcia.